jump master said to me, he said, are you scared? I said, no, first sergeant, shaking in my shoes. And he said, stand in the door. Now I seen the brother that they had to kick out the door.
Oh.
So I was not gonna be another one. So when that man said, go, I jumped and said, what the hell did I just do?
We have a special guest today. I can't say how much it really means to us that he's here to bless you guys with some of his experiences through service. Mr. Williams is a ex-Navy SEAL, well, once a Navy SEAL, always a Navy SEAL, right? Again, a Vietnam veteran that is especially has come to us to be able to share some of his experiences throughout service and give us the opportunity to be able to, wonderfully listen to those things. And Mr. Williams, could you introduce yourself here?
Yeah, my name is Chuck Williams, and I'm a former UDT SEAL, and once a SEAL, always a SEAL. And I'm just here to enlighten, help, and just be myself.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much being able to bless us with the opportunity of being on the show. We really appreciate it, and the audience very much appreciates it as well. So we're gonna kind of make sure that, obviously, we wanna make sure it's a safe space for you, right? Being able to talk about some of the experiences doing service, because obviously you're going through Vietnam service. That's a tough period,
Tough time,
man. Yeah. How was it? Just briefly again in the beginning.
In the beginning, it was new, an experience that I needed.
Oh, nice.
Because I had my mother. She was the general in my life.
Wow.
And she helped to guide me and get me on the straight and narrow. Mm-hmm. That little woman was rough. So I contribute all that to her, and I'm still here. So
nice.
I did something right,
Nice. So what actually led you up to going to the military, just in general?
I lived in Harlem at that time, and we had some bad times.
Got it.
Drugs, and a lot of my friends got shot or went to jail and stuff like that.
Okay.
And my mother got to the point where she said, you're not gonna go down that path.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, let me go in the Navy, or let me go in the Air Force and try to find my way. I had originally got a scholarship to play basketball in the 11th grade.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, it was like something that I wanted to do, but they would only give me a half a scholarship. Meanwhile, I was a hell of a swimmer, and they didn't even look that way. But back in that day, that's what you expected.
Yeah. So you swam and played basketball. So you're pretty athletic.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So other than that, and it's so funny. The toys I played with, I became.
Oh, wow.
I used to blow up. I used to put models together, and then go buy firecrackers and blow them up. In different ways.
Yeah. Like model cars, model airplanes. Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
And I used to put parachutes on little men, throw them out the 6th floor, watch them go down.
The next thing you know, it was you.
Then it was me.
Yeah.
So I guess I was training myself to be a UDT SEAL. Didn't even know it.
Okay.
Because most of the kids in my neighborhood, we all swam together. We all ran through the backyards, jumped over fences. I even shimmied up between 2 buildings one time to the 3rd floor. And something told me, that's not good, Chuck. And I shimmied my butt back down and stuff. And but other than that, Harlem was bad, and I needed an out. I didn't want to become a statistic.
Yeah.
And it was so easy for us young brothers to get caught up with, like Bumper Johnson, Frank Lucas, stuff like that. It was easy.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you didn't use, you was good.
Yeah.
You know, you made some good money and stuff. But through that experience, it was like, I need something more. And thankful to my mother. She knew that I could be better, and she always taught me, if you can see it, if you can touch it, it can be yours.
Wow.
And I followed that. You know, and as soon as you tell me I can't do it, it's like, we'll see. You know.
I got him. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was good.
That's
it was
great.
really good.
That's great. So with that, you know, through those experiences, obviously, you know, growing up in Harlem and then wanting to transition, just being so easily, it can be easily navigated within some of the street life. So you decided to go off to the military. What made you choose the Navy? Well, you don't have to answer that. I mean, we don't have any Navy. But no. What made you choose the Navy?
I wanted to, and this is funny because I played with a diver. It was blue and red, and you could put it in the water and make it move certain ways. So I knew I wanted to dive. That was always my favorite. And I had little divers. Back in the day, they had these things that you could buy in your cereal, and it was made up like a little frogman. You put soda powder in the bottom of it, put it in the water, it go up and down.
Oh, wow.
And it just fascinated me. One of my favorite shows was Sea Hunt with Lloyd Bridges. Homeboy was a good diver.
Yeah.
And every Friday evening, I'd sit and watch him. And I always wanted to do it.
That's excellent.
So
that's great.
That's why I went Navy. I'm a water person, and I want to experience being on a ship. My first experience was going to Europe.
Oh, wow.
On a LSD.
Yeah.
Flat.
It was rough.
It was rough.
Rough. Yeah. Well, I mean, we can share back and forth ship stories all day. That the life on, you know, a carrier, LHD, LSD, or what have you. It's a very rough life, you know. But you know, builds a lot of character, right? As we can know, you know, and also come through being able to go through challenges that most can't, right? And obviously yourself, you know, being so successful here. But now, obviously, once you made that transition, going to the Navy, at that point, there was a decision to become a SEAL, right?
Yeah. What it was, as we all know, they take you to the library and say, okay, go in there and pick out what you want to do. And I said, okay. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. But on that door, as you walked in, it said, be the Navy's finest, go Navy UDT SEAL. So,
and could you explain what UDT is for our audience?
UDT is Underwater Demolition Team.
Got it.
So basically, my job is to blow stuff up, or you know, sneak up on people.
Okay.
You know? Back in the day, the original unit was called UDU, which is Underwater Demolition Unit, and it went from that to UDT, which is Underwater Demolition Team. And now it's all called SEAL Team.
Got it.
So it made that transition.
So it was a merger.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So it served its purpose. It kept me straight, you know. It kept me my mind fresh and always wanting to do better.
Got it.
And also, it was more money.
Got it. There we go.
More.
definitely got to access the cash, right? But yeah, so I mean, going to the library, making that decision, saying, "Hey, I want to be a SEAL," and at that point, going through the boot camp or the transition of the initial phase, right? Boot camp is always different for everyone. Right. Tell you about it. You know, some have terrible horror stories. Some have not that bad experiences.
Right.
So tell me, how was your experience on that first initial transition?
My experience with the initial transition was I walked in, they gave us an hour in the library. I walked in and walked right back out.
Okay.
And the first class said, I gave you an hour. I said, I know what I want to do. And he said, what's that? I want to be Navy's finest UDT SEAL. And he looked at me, he said, that's a lot of swimming. I said, so? They never asked me if I could swim. You know, they assumed I couldn't.
Yeah.
So after that, I got through that point. He talked to me about it. He said, there's a whole lot of swimming. You may not like it, you know. He was trying to get me into going to a ship. And I didn't know if I wanted to be on a ship. And finally, he said, okay, well, there were like, let's see, about 100 and some odd guys in this one platoon. And out of that one platoon, 15 of us went to the initial thing. And later on that night, me and this guy named Spivogel came back. And out of that 15, it was only 2 of us.
Yeah.
And the guy told, and it was so funny, he said, we need you to get in your bed now that you've been down there. He automatically thought that we flunked.
Yeah.
And I said, to be honest about it, there's a first class named Bill Goins, black guy, that told me I better bring my butt back in 10 minutes or he's gonna have my butt and your butt. Personally, I'd rather him jump you than me.
And I'm sure it was in those terms, right?
Yeah, it wasn't in those terms.
Yeah.
So we went, and so it was a different type of boot camp. It was a month shorter. We performed for this guy named Captain Simons and got our special leave for the weekend and stuff. So it was pretty good. My next day, they had where you had to jump off a 30-foot diving board.
Yeah.
And jump into the water. And me being a smart behind from New York, and I still didn't tell him I could swim. I asked him, I said, so how you want me to get in the water? Oh, just do whatever you want to do and get in the water. I threw a 1.5 close pipe, hit the water, came up on the other side. And he looked at me and said, well, we got some kind of GD Johnny Washmellow? I said, yeah. He said, you never told me you could swim. You never asked. So after that, they just left me alone. They said, smart behind from New York City. We didn't know he could swim, but he's going in the SEAL team, so we ain't gonna deal with him no more.
Yeah, and that was the first initial stages before, you know, the actual training.
Right,
so, okay.
Right. Because they called it baby buds.
Got it. Okay.
And that Lake what is it, Great Lakes?
Great Lakes, yeah.
God, that water's freezing. It was in February, what was it, February? January, I went up there. And part of my baby hell week was getting in that cold water. I never felt cold water like that before.
So they made you swim outside? It was oh, man, listen, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, swimming even in the Pacific over here is cold. So imagine that. Oh man, that's terrible. But how far did you guys have to swim? Just if you can just kind of run me through some of the training that you guys did go through.
Well, the training in boot camp was where we had to swim a mile in less than 20 minutes.
Okay.
We had to be able to survive that cold water, run with, telephone poles. That's how we did our PT together.
In training,
In training. It was fun. I have to admit it was fun because I probably would quit.
Oh, it's fun for you because you was able to successfully get the other guys. I'm sure, you know, they like, but no, that's great. That's great. Yeah, just going through all the training. I'm sure it was, definitely rigorous on your body.
Yeah.
Even for these days, but now when we're talking about that, right? You actually, you make it, right? You get to the point where we're at buds, and I'm sure going from baby buds to actually going to buds training was a big culture shock, right?
It was a tremendous culture shock.
Yeah.
Not only was it was 157 of us.
Okay.
I was only black.
Oh wow.
I was only black, and being in Virginia at that time, they say that most militaries are not prejudiced, but they had prejudiced people in SEAL team. They had that Bill Goins. They called him the deer because in Nam he got away from hostiles and ran something like 20 miles to get back to his unit. So he was rough.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Homeboy was bad.
Tough, yeah.
Yeah, he was
tough as nails. That's why I say the Vietnam era. That right there, that was a different type of. You had to be a different type of specimen.
Oh
to
yeah,
go through that, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So he made me realize that I wanted to be as bad, if not as good. And he was a good person to follow behind.
That's great.
So
you just had that mentorship of being able to have a leader to kind of pave the way for you, to give you that aspect of a directional way to go, right?
Right.
That's great. That's great.
And he made it hard on me.
Yeah.
Because he told me that expect the worst. I'm not going to baby you, and I want the best to come through here. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, I'm going to catch hell. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
He was fair though. He was really fair.
Were there any type of unique challenges that you went through just being African American?
Yeah, they didn't really expect me to make it because I was African American, and I didn't like running. I hated running to the max.
Don't worry, me. I can't stand it.
I hated running, but I ended up in Hell Week in regular buds. I ran 26 miles in jungle greens and boots, and I did it in 2 hours and 45 minutes.
That's incredible.
That I had to.
So you were moving.
I was moving. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I was moving.
Yeah, you them legs, they turned into Chevrolet legs.
Oh,
you was gone, yeah.
I was gone.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's incredible, just being able to touch that feat. But yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
So along with that, I found out that I was good. I was real good.
There you go.
Had a couple of guys that could outrun me during Hell Week, and they ran up next to me and said, "Chuck, you're hanging in there real good. Well, don't you want to stop?" "Oh no, man, I ain't got time to talk about this. I got to finish this run." And they ended up ringing the bell. And
so if you want to give up, you have to ring the bell out?
The bell, yeah.
Okay.
And I was more afraid of doing that because you're going to be out in front of everybody. Then I had to go report to that little general that I was talking about.
I was going to say, Mama going to give you a call now.
Oh yeah. And she was always there for me, no matter what.
That's incredible.
So she pushed me because I knew that when she told me, if you want it, you get it. It's like I said, it's an oyster out there, and you're supposed to enjoy it. Don't tell me, no. You're out there, I expect you to do it. So when I graduated, we were the only blacks there, and I started getting treated like a king. Because now the white boys found out that I was just as good, if not better. And it was a long trip. It was a long trip. So racism was there, and I had a chief told me that he was gonna make it so hard for me through Hell Week that I wasn't gonna make it. His wife walked over to me. She says, "We got lobster dinner. You make it." And we had lobster dinner.
Lobster, steak, and shrimp and all.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. So I pissed him off.
Yeah.
I pissed him off, but hey, comes with the territory.
Hey, but I think just having that confidence in yourself propelled you through, right?
Yeah.
Through all the challenges, the things that you had to overcome, you were able to get to the end of the road. So that's just incredible upon yourself being able to do something like that, because you paved the way for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even during that time, right, when we talk about the military, a lot of times, you know, most people don't know, like the military was a very difficult position to be in for minorities. During that time frame, a lot of minorities only were able to be cooks.
Right. Cooks and stewards, cooks, stuff like that. For me to be in UDT SEAL,
That's top of the class.
it was
Cut
like,
above.
okay, whatever you want to do, Chuck. You know, it opened the door and made me realize that my complexion had nothing to do with what I was capable of doing. I never shot rifles until I got in the military, and then I became an expert rifle. Guy said, "You're from Harlem and you've never shot guns?" I said, "No, and I don't like them." And he says, "Well, you're going to have to learn to like them,"
Yeah.
which I did. Which I did. So there were quite a few things I did in coming through training that I had no idea that I was capable of doing.
Yeah. I mean, it just pulled the best out of you, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's
It really
great.
did.
That's great. You know, by being, it sounds like a lot of identifiable leaders were, you know, in your journey of life, right?
Yeah.
Getting to the point of becoming a SEAL, right? Can you give me your philosophy or perspective on team building and leadership, just leadership, just in general?
Leadership.
Yeah.
I guess the easiest way to say it is every man in that platoon could do the same thing another man could do. We were all combat ready. We were all medically able to give blood, take blood, shots in the field, because most of the corpsmen didn't really go as far as we went. So we had to pull and take from one another.
Yeah.
So at any given time, if, say for instance, Jerry fell down, I would have to pick up for him
Gotcha.
and lead. Whatever he was doing, I had to be able to do it as well.
Having that next man up mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was it was very interesting, still very hard, and training never stopped. You know, once you got through Bud's training, it just began.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be a diver. And I went to second class diving school. My original diving was in Key West, Florida, which I fell in love with deep dives and stuff like that. And we also dove the best rebreathers. I swam from Rosie Roads to Puerto Rico. We swam from, I can't remember the name of the island where we swam to Rosie Roads. And it was a 10-hour underwater swim with this tank on your back. So when I got out, all I could do was stand up straight. I couldn't bend over for a while.
I bet.
So I put my body through a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Just over time, I mean, you know, going through that training, rigorous training, that's tough. You know what I mean? Just over time, you know, just kind of getting wore down. You know what I mean? We're all human here.
Right.
You're a little superhuman, but you know, but yeah, everyone's during that transition throughout the military goes through these rigorous trainings, regardless of what it is. And I think you hit a nail on the head when you spoke about not stopping training, not forgetting your training, and continuously moving forward to training, so much so that you would need to train the next man to bring them up.
Right.
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 And I think, when we talk about that in different various aspects, just in anything, but labeling in entrepreneurship, right? That's something that you always want to make sure that is there. Having the continuous training, the leadership training, making sure everything is understood. And I think that's incredible. I think it's incredible because most people, and I will tell you, it is very difficult to have that mentality, right? We talked about it before, just not continuously being a forever learner, right? Most people think they know it all once you get to a certain age. I got to a point where, I start understanding how much I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And again, with your accolades, is just being able to learn from someone like you is incredible, because now it gives somewhere a pathway of understanding, hey, you can't stop. You can't stop learning.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Learning is a situation that you need, and you have to always expect more, because I've only had 2 jobs in my life.
Oh, wow.
Only 2. And one is being a UDT SEAL, and the next one is air traffic controller. And I went from abusing me physically to messing with my mind. So I went from being wet and always cold, always on the go, to sitting in a building getting paid well. And that was a challenge too, because I was the only black in the tower. So, I've always gone where you tell me I can't go.
Yeah. And that shows a lot of resilience through you.
Yeah.
I mean, just becoming a SEAL just in general is already going to put you in that resilient standpoint. Transitioning from a physical, right, to more or less mental, you again, I'm sure there's some resilience building blocks there. Do you have any tips for the audience in how you can be able to build mental toughness and resilience and also physical?
Basically what it all boiled down to is that you never give up. You never give up, especially if they tell you you can't do it. Who are they to tell you you can't do something that you know you can do? So it's never give up, never allow anybody to out of your game.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Because I had people yelling in my face, like jump school. Went to jump school, and I think it was my 3rd airplane flight. And I was jumping out that airplane. And that first sergeant said, or jump master said to me, he said, are you scared? I said, no, first sergeant, shaking in my shoes. And he said, stand in the door. Now I seen the brother that they had to kick out the door.
Oh.
So I was not gonna be another one. So when that man said, go, I jumped and said, what the hell did I just do?
Oh, man.
I hope my parachute is big enough. I looked up, and then you hear from down below, the guy said, man with the malfunction parachute, check your canopy. So I looked up, and then I started looking around, and my chute was no bigger than everybody else, so I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, somebody came flying past me. That was the guy. And when he hit the ground, he still survived because they really dig up a field for us to jump into. So if anything like that happens, 9 times
You can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because all I saw was a poof.
Oh, wow.
And they went and picked him up, and he finished out jump school. And like I said, it's a situation where, I'm going to do this. And I'm a little scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it was just like free fall school.
Yeah.
I thought I was Superman. No. And I went out that door. Oh my goodness, what the hell am I doing again? I said I wasn't going, but it turned out okay.
Yeah,
So a lot of things that I got challenged with, I played with. Remember, the little man with the parachute out the window? Now I'm a grown man jumping out of plane, parachute on my back.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of things I did when I was younger got me prepared for it.
Yeah, just got you prepared for throughout the journey that you've taken on,
Yeah.
you know, throughout your life. And I think everything just starts, right? It starts as a mustard seed and continue to grow over time. But even with that, even going through jump school, because that's something that we want to uncover and kind of just kind of unpack a little bit. So, but with that, getting to jump school, how did that actually transpire?
Well, it was funny because when we went through training in Hell Week and stuff like that, they said, well, you know, once you get through training, you don't really have to go to jump school. You know, you don't have to worry. They lied like they was. Oh, they lied so bad because it was.
I don't think you're the only one they lied to.
No. So it was like 6 weeks later, after we got through training, Billy comes up and says, "Okay, pack your stuff. We're going to Fort Benning, Georgia for jump school." I said, "Wait a minute, Chief. Wait. You told me I didn't have to do this. Why am I doing it now?" "Because I'm asking you to." And he was bigger than what I was. So I'm like, he said, "So you gonna get on the bus, Chuck?" "Yeah, I am." He said, "It's more money." "Oh, I can do this."
Yeah. Being from Harlem, you know.
Oh yeah, I wanted that money, you know.
Yeah.
So I was at E5 when it all came, because I wanted to go to warrant officer school, but I had spent so much time away from my children. As an E5, I was making what E7 was making.
Yeah.
Because of the jump pay.
All the extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point there. A lot of times, you know, when we think about the military personnel, if you're obviously doing what you're supposed to do, it's a consistent pay, pretty much on par. So with the rest of the nation, typically, if not typically more, when you start thinking about stuff, because they want to take care of you in certain areas, so you can't only focus on the mission, right? So basically, but getting back to that, so we get to obviously on the bus, heading to jump school. Now, how does that start transitioning?
It was like a wake-up call. I knew I didn't want to jump. Deep down in my system, it was telling me, "You really don't want to jump out this airplane, Chuck. It's like your third flight. No, I ain't gonna do this." And then I'm looking around at the other guys, and I was like, I can't flunk out now. I just got to do it, be done with it, you know. And then it's give me extra money. And then I turned around to a couple other guys. "How do y'all feel about this jump school?" I don't know if I want to jump out that plane, Chuck." And I'm like, "Are you gonna do it, Chuck?" "I'm on this bus with you guys, yeah. You know, I might as well do it, you know, because I'm not going back there and them telling me, you got to go to a ship."
Oh wow!
And that's the next step.
That's the motivator right there.
That was the motivator.
Yeah.
So we got to Fort Benning, Georgia, and they put us away from everybody else because they thought we were rabble rousers. Well, we were, but you know, we I guess beat our chests a little bit harder than everybody else, you know. And so we had this whole building to ourselves, and they wouldn't let any Army personnel near it.
Yeah.
And we had people from the Air Force there too.
Okay.
So they were supposed to be special. That's when we found out that we was a real schnizzle.
I got you.
So it was pretty interesting. And like I said, when the guy told me to go,
yeah, you go.
Just like that. Didn't even think about it. Yeah. Not until I got in the air. And then it was like, okay, the parachute is okay. I'm all right. Now I got to do a perfect landing so I don't hurt myself. And when I came down, I was going to do the roll, but I came down so soft. It was like poof. And I'm standing, and I look up in the first class, and the sergeant was looking at me, and so I rolled.
Yeah.
Just, he says, I saw that, Mr. Williams. I'm like, oh well. So I really, I had a good role model to follow. Not only Bill Goins, but family. My mother was everything I had.
That's amazing.
And she passed away 6 months after I got through SEAL team training.
Wow.
So it told her, I guess it was like, she did a job. I'm on safe ground.
Yeah.
I can leave now, you know. And come to find out, she had a lot of things going on. But like most parents, you take care of your children. You don't really worry about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so everything she said to me was, if you want it, go get it. And I always realized that I could have the best if I just push. And that's the important thing, believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. Back in that day, they tried to beat us down real bad. And me being in the teams, I never saluted an officer.
Oh, wow.
The whole time I was there,
Yeah.
they wouldn't let us, the officers that were in charge of us,
Yeah.
they didn't, no, you went through the same training I did. Don't keep that hat off, Chuck, you know. And for the most part, at any time we saw officers, if there was more than one of us, we'd turn around and go the opposite way.
Yeah.
You know, because these guys had no idea what SEAL team was all about.
Because it was one of the first iterations, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Now, even, you know, it was just mutual respect, right? Going through that type of training. When we're talking about boot camp, right? Boot camp, you know, that's one aspect of things. But when we're talking about the level of buds that was, you know, rigorously impinged in you guys, that's something different.
Yeah.
You know, that's something different. I think it just gets to the point of kind of understanding the belief in yourself, being able to get through something like that, but also navigating that and being able to transition that into the civilian life.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because at that, you know, you're a bad guy. You can get through that. You know what I mean? Definitely in the Vietnam era. You know, talking about those things because the military was much different then.
Yeah.
You know, when we're talking about even all the way down to the culture, right? The culture.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you know, having respect for a fellow leader. You know, but then we've heard stories on many occasions that if you don't have, even if you didn't respect a leader, there were multiple occasions that leader was going to make you respect them.
Yeah.
You know, and regardless of how that worked, whether if it was hazing, harassment, even physical altercations, this stuff happened, I'm sure, on a regular basis throughout your time, right?
Yeah, it did. Well, with me, with the regular Navy, no.
Got it.
It was more or less in the team itself, because respect was demanded. You know, I mean this, and I hate saying it, white boy. We fought until we were like on our knees, looking at each other, and he didn't like me. He was from a small town in South Carolina where his daddy was the mayor and all this other stuff. And we fought.
Yeah, I'm sure regularly, just going back and forth. Yeah, because you guys are in such close quarters all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And finally, his sister came up, and this is bad. His sister came up, and one day when just before we, you know, went out to have roll call and stuff, he looked at me, he said, I don't know what my sister likes in you, but you know, she says you're handsome. I said, she got good taste. And I went out and we started fighting again, you know. So it was comical, and when we finally settled down, he invited me to his home in South Carolina. We had a good time, and then I found out when you're in New York, you are surrounded by us. As soon as you leave New York, you find out it's not like that. And that's what I experienced, you know, how to deal with other nationalities and stuff like that. In New York, I go down to the corner pizzeria shop, to Mama's place. She knew exactly what type of pizza I wanted.
Yeah.
In the Navy, I found out that it's not like that.
Yeah.
Especially in Virginia.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'm just sure is that plucking you out of there and putting you in this a melting pot of the rest of the world. I mean, it's a culture shock. Right? When we talk about a culture shock, a lot of it. I think a lot of people think it in a negative aspect, but I think it's also positive.
It's very positive.
Yeah,
very positive. I've eaten at places that you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
You know, and back to my little general, she every month, as I was growing up, we would go out to a different restaurant. I was eating with chopsticks at 10. You know, and people didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But when we went to Japan, I was part of the culture, you know, and most of the guys was like, Chuck, where'd you learn this from? And I had to say, my mom taught me, you know.
Yeah. And then just grabbing that, right? Grabbing that small piece of cultural influence, and then being able to have an open mind, because I think sometimes, you know, I think we don't talk about this enough, is the culture shock and how some are unwilling to change for other cultures.
Right.
And I think it's very important that we talk about being able to take some of that on in our lives, gives us the opportunity to be able to open our minds, right? By having the viability and the availability to open your minds, it gives you a little bit more mental elevation, right?
Yeah, because like when I went to France, now we're talking about each platoon is 15.
Yeah.
So I got my other teammates were like from the Deep South.
Yeah.
You know, big boys.
Big guy, yeah.
Big white boys.
Yeah.
And I remember this one guy, Wayne Shield, he was about 6'5", 6'4", like a rock. But he spoke French like a dummy. And he would say, parlez-vous français? But he would say it in such a southern drawl and no accent, nothing. And I come along, and it was like the restaurant. Say, for instance, we were in a restaurant. They would stand there and laugh at me.
Oh, wow.
And turn around and talk to me in English. And then when they weren't there, say it like this. And I could parlez-vous français un petit peu with the accent. They would parlez-vous in like a deep southern, no try, nothing. So 9 times out of 10, they didn't get anything that they wanted. I got what I wanted because I tried to put the accent gros on the words. I tried to sound like I was French.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a culture shock because I could go in places and try my French, try my Spanish. And because I tried it with the right tone, people would open up and talk to me.
Just respecting their culture and being able to have that mutual respect, because unity it will definitely get you more. Get you further, right?
Oh yeah.
And just again having those manners to be able to say, hey, I'm trying.
I got a little something for you, you know. I always went to places where they told us not to go. And the reason why I did it was because half the platoon would be in jail, but before the night was out, because they went to other places. And I come strolling in, and Chief was always up, looking for me to come in by myself. Never at a jail.
Oh, wow.
So he said, how do you get away with stuff like this? I say, I go to the places you tell me not to go, and I have a good time. You telling these guys not to go there, then they're gonna go where everybody else is, and they're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
They're gonna go to jail, they're gonna fight, they're gonna do this. Meanwhile, I'm having a good meal, learning new languages, you know.
I definitely think, there's a lot of things to unpack there, and I definitely want to make sure we talk about that transition into the civilian life,
Oh, okay.
right? Because that was, again, impinging on that moment of your military service, but now we're going to go ahead and fold through through civilian life, and we're going to do that here shortly in another segment, okay?
Okay.